Bitcoin is shooting upwards again. We're gonna find out where it is likely to stop and then tell you what's next. Hello there everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. Today, as always, we'll start on the Bitcoin chart. We'll make a small prediction about where we think Bitcoin will go in the next 24 to 48 hours and just in general explore the crypto market as we do on the WhatsNext Global Channel. So today I want to discuss a topic that is very, very relevant right now, which is the trading of price patterns. So a price pattern is basically trying to classify the movements of price into something that's easier to understand. So price patterns can happen in many different ways, right? The most basic price pattern that a lot of people learn is a head and shoulders pattern, for example, right? So a head and shoulders pattern would be a bullish trend, basically switching to a bearish trend. So they think it looks like a head with shoulders, and then in order to make this a more easy to understand topic, they called it a head and shoulders. So let's look around here, right? They will visualize this specifically as the left shoulder, which is just a high. Then we create a higher high, which is the head, and then you have a lower high with a lower low, and then you have just created a head and shoulders pattern. So today we won't discuss the head and shoulders pattern because it's not relevant for what's happening on the charts right now, but we will discuss the bull flag pattern. So basically a bull flag pattern will be an impulsive move upwards, usually a short squeeze. If you haven't seen our video about the short squeeze, please do, because it's valuable knowledge and you have to know this to be profitable in the markets. Well, you don't have to know it, but it's a very, very useful tool to use. So if you have a short squeeze, which will generate an impulsive move upwards, then sometimes you'll have a small correction. It's like sideways consolidation, and it'll look kind of like a flag, right? A flag waving in the wind, and then basically what you'll have is an impulsive move upwards. And if you break your trend line and you have volume on the break upwards, then you can say that there will be a continuation. So a bull flag pattern, by its nature, will be a continuation pattern. So you can also have a bear flag pattern, and that will just look like this, right? An impulsive move down, then some upwards consolidation, and then an increase in volume downwards, breaking the upward trend line, and then going for continuation to the downside. Now, what we can do in this situation is we can measure the distance from the low till the high, and then we can add this on the break of the trend line, and then you'll have a profit target right here. So this basically means that you have a continuation pattern with volume on the breakout. You can place your stop loss usually around here, right, where you'll have the low, and then the idea is you have your continuation right here, right, your breakout, and then the idea is that you don't break this low again. So that's why you'll put your stop loss around there. That's the basic philosophy of trading a bull flag pattern. And then on a bear flag pattern, of course, you're doing the same, but then in reverse. So now let's look at the charts. I've already made some targets on the chart of Bitcoin already. Let's switch this up. So right here we have the targets that we discussed in the previous video, right? So we were talking about the stacked supply zones, right? Remember the supply zones that we had right here? They're like a magnet for price to move towards it. Why? Because this is where the bulk of the volume is traded. This is where the imbalances happen, right? You have a clean move upwards, and then bam, you hit a specific sort of resistance, and you visualize it by having a white candlestick, right? The indicators you can find right here, 50% body candle, and it just shows a candle that has a body that is smaller than the sum of the wicks. And basically, if you try to interpret that candlestick, this is what you'll get, right? You're basically moving upwards, and then you'll find resistance, and you find that resistance because there's an interest to sell at that given price, right? Because there's interest to sell at this given price, you'll have the huge downward momentum. So now if you reach that specific price point again, you can expect a reaction to it. That's basically how supply and demand dynamics work. And that's the philosophy that you can use to memorize it. So basically what we're looking at right now is we are looking at the same pattern repeated. So we have these bull flag patterns right here. So you have your first one, and then your second one, again a bull flag, and then you break, you have an increase in volume on your break, and then you have your continuation upwards, and then you have a bear flag again, and then on the break here you have increase in volume again, you have the continuation, and then here we are looking for an increase in volume yet again to continue towards this supply zone. So that's basically my analysis for Bitcoin about what I think will happen and why it will happen, right? So we can see already that the bull flag is a very, very useful tool to use when you're looking to continue a trend. I think this explains it perfectly, right? Just your perfect bull flag continuation run. So it means that there's a lot of buying interest at these given areas. Usually some people go short to take the pullback, and then they get trapped. You have another impulsive move upwards, and that's the same as what happened right here, right? So the real liquidity is positioned in these zones right here. So then it's just, we just have to look if we see an actual rejection on that zone, and then eventually you might consider taking a short position. So then let's have another look at altcoin dominance. These are my targets, by the way, for Bitcoin at this moment. Still 53,938. I think that one was hit perfectly, right? We had we took out the high right here. We get a pullback to exactly that target that we had in the previous video. So yeah, that's just perfect analysis right there. There's a demand area right here, and we just filled in that demand, and now we are looking to continue upwards again. So yeah, it's good to see that the first prediction of this channel has now manifested itself, and now we're looking for somewhat the same theory, but then with a supply zone instead of a demand zone, and we're looking to fill it up to the targets right here. So 57,980 is one of the stacked zones I'm looking at. 59,200 is the target of the bull flag that we're currently in, and 56,582 is the lower end of the supply area. So those are the targets that I'm looking at right now. And now I'd just like to take a quick glance at the altcoin dominance chart, and it looks like we are setting a lower high right now. So what's left now is we have to break this high right here at 56.64%. If we break that high, we know that there is a possibility for continuation upwards, because then we have a high, a higher low, and a new high. So that's basically the end of the correction for the Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, that was actually everything. So you can just enjoy your Sunday, you can enjoy your weekend, and then I'll see you tomorrow with another market outlook video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.